Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Although, actually, I'm glad that you're here. I've been messing around for the last couple days with my new MacBook Air M1, and I think I've run into something that I haven't really seen anyone else talk about, and it deals with the way that this machine handles thermal saturation and processor throttling when it starts to get really hot. This is the kind of thing that I'd really like to have a bunch of other people look at if they possibly can. I know not a whole lot of people look at my videos because I'm just kind of a goofy guy that just does things for his own pleasure. And among the various things that I do is occasionally throw a video up on YouTube. This is something that's actually could be kind of important. If we can kind of get the word out on this, maybe it might help somebody when they're looking to buy something. And maybe it might be something that some of the other bigger guys can talk about and help me figure out. Let's just go ahead and dive into it. Okay, so here's the deal. Back when Apple first announced that they were going to come out with the M1 chip, I knew that I was going to end up with one. It was something that was really interesting to me. I enjoyed the idea that Apple was going to go back to the RISC architecture. I just wasn't really sure which one I was going to get. The M1 chip has actually been available for a couple months now if you're an Apple developer in the form of a Mac Mini that they had kind of hacked one into. These were machines you could effectively just sort of rent for a little bit of time. But it was very clear if you talk to any developers that this thing was just kind of astonishingly fast. So I was really looking forward to these when they hit the market. The question was going to be is exactly which one did I want to buy. Now my purchasing decision is based more on a want than a need. I have a perfectly good Macintosh Pro, what they call trash can Mac. And even though it dates back to 2013 and it's just a 4-core machine, it really, to me, runs effectively at the speed of light. I'm rarely in any kind of situation where I felt like I was pushing it in any way. And as far as a laptop is concerned, I have a perfectly good MacBook Pro from 2017 that, in spite of having a really crappy keyboard, has really good battery life and really does everything that I needed to do. So really what I was down to in a kind of a lucky position, just being able to pick what it was that I wanted to use as opposed to perhaps something that I needed to use. I own a couple different businesses as well as some hobbies that make use of computers with some frequency. And I often find myself in a situation where I'm at my office or I'm at a different location or I'm at a retail location, and I would really like to have my desktop with me. Now I know that in this world, it's really easy to put things on the cloud or in some way virtualize your workspace, etc. But there's something to be said about literally being able to pick up your exact workspace and take it with you. And when you sit down somewhere else, the thing you're working on is the exact thing that you're working on when you left. You don't have to worry about if I've got these applications installed or if I have access to this particular data. It's just, I really wanted to be in a situation where if I'm in my office and I'm doing some work and I need to go someplace else, and I go there and I've got my computer with me and I pop the computer open, it's just like no time has passed. I'm working on one, I'm working on the other. So going to a laptop was exactly where I wanted to go. And what's kept me from doing this thing up to this point is the expense of getting into an Apple laptop that would really compete favorably with my desktop Mac Pro. I didn't want to be in a situation where I had bought a laptop to effectively do this thing, and what I was doing was stepping backwards in power and capabilities. So it's obvious that now is the time to buy, and what I really wanted was a laptop. Now it just comes down to deciding, do I want the MacBook Pro or do I want the MacBook Air? The research that I'd done on both of them kind of pushed me more towards the Air. I kind of like the form factor of it, and I like the fact that it's cheaper. And the extra things that the MacBook Pro added didn't really seem like it was that much of an issue to me. So I ordered my Air. Now, of course, I made many changes to it. I kept changing my mind, which RAM I wanted, which hard drive I wanted, etc. And every time I did that, it pushed me further back into the ordering chain until finally my machine didn't even show up till January 15th. So I'm kind of late to the game there. I unpacked my Air and put it into a little docking station because it is going to be my desktop machine, and proceeded to do different things and ran into a problem. I was doing some video compression and the processors were effectively running at close to 100%. And as I was watching the progress bar go across, I got to maybe 3 minutes into it and then, to me, visibly slowed down. And I thought to myself, well, great, I've hit that thermal barrier and the throttling is starting to happen, and that's just what's going on. But then I thought, well, this seems like it was awful fast. I don't seem to remember seeing this when I was watching videos of other people. And then it occurred to me, I don't think I've seen anybody do testing of the MacBook Air or Pro when it's closed. Like you'd use it in a desktop situation. A desktop, you close the machine and you use a keyboard and a mouse and a monitor and the machine's never open. All the testing I had seen was with the machine open. Then suddenly occurred to me, this could really radically change the way the heat builds up inside this machine, because as far as I can tell, a lot of it comes out through the keyboard. So I decided I would do some testing. So I set up some video compression, let that run. And when it finished, it took 31 minutes and 20 seconds. And that was with the MacBook Air in the little docking station so that it was all folded up. Just kind of to run as a comparison, I also ran that exact same video on my Mac Pro from 2013. It did it in 47 minutes, 38 seconds, a difference of like 16 seconds. It's literally a third faster than the Mac Pro. I then shut off the MacBook Air and let it set for a couple hours to make sure that the temperature had completely stabilized. Set it up again in an open position and ran the test again. It finished the test this time in 30.04 seconds, which is a minute 16 faster than when it was operating in its closed configuration. Clearly, there was some throttling going on that was slowing the machine down. Just for the sake of experimenting, I ran it again with an actual fan running on the keyboard and on the machine itself. I did it this time in 30 and 11 seconds, although it wasn't really completely fair because I did not let that machine desaturate. I just ran the test again immediately afterwards, so it was pretty hot already. So here's the takeaway. I am completely blown away by the speed of the M1 chip, as is anyone else who has used one. But if you're thinking about using a laptop in a desktop configuration, meaning running it with it closed and a keyboard and a monitor attached, perhaps you might consider the MacBook Pro. The fan in it may make a difference. There's about a 5% difference between the speeds that is being exhibited under throttle with the MacBook Air open versus closed. And if you add that up, I'm assuming the thing was running 100% all the time for a 40-hour work week. That's about another 2 hours a week. Is that worth your money? Is it not worth your money? It's about another $200 to get into the MacBook Pro. What are your thoughts? You could really be helping somebody out by leaving a comment down below. And if anyone knows anyone that has a Mac Pro, a channel or an individual that could actually run some tests on it, open and close, to see if it makes any kind of difference, that could be very helpful too. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time.